Hey y'all, it's your girl Shay, and I am back on day 15 of showing up for my 30-day challenge. And today, y'all, give it up. We at the midway point. Doesn't mean that I won't post past that, but I'm proud of myself for being consistent. I'm proud of myself for showing up, okay? But you know what the Lord was saying to me today is that you can't afford to be mediocre. You were never meant to settle. You cannot afford to be mediocre. You were never meant to settle. And so this came as I was watching a video of someone popular that I have somewhat kind of followed when they were in the media. And it's how they pretty much like made a comeback after going completely broke. And what she said is that in her city, people became comfortable with being mediocre. And the Lord said to me, my children can't afford to be mediocre. She was one of God's children. And so you can't afford to be mediocre. You can't afford to settle because your life was never meant to be that way. Many times we wonder why we get uncomfortable in places and spaces around people when time is up for you to elevate. And that's not by coincidence. Many times, if God doesn't make our life uncomfortable, we'll stay in a place that we're not meant to grow in. We'll stay in a place with the people who are tearing us down and won't build us up. Those uncomfortable situations that you get in, the Lord is saying, is strategic. Like, you have to get uncomfortable. He has to make your spirit feel uncomfortable and unsettled, because if he doesn't, you'll be okay with the bare minimum. You'll be okay with settling. And God's children have always been set apart. Like, God has never called his children to play mediocre and to be okay with the bare minimum. And I'll tell y'all a quick testimony of just how much God doesn't want his children to settle, and how this is a full circle moment that he brought this back into my spirit. So I went to Shantia Deja's second win conference, and I had got this hotel. Now, the Lord moves so many ways at that conference, and he moves so many ways just in general. But I was in my room, and on the ceiling there was mold. And I was sitting in my bed, and I was texting my friend. I said, you know, I really don't like to be confrontational, but I paid my hard-earned money, and I don't want to be in a room with mold. Like, I'm not going to be comfortable. I said, do you think that that's me making too much of a fuss if I go and I say something? And my friend said, no, like, you are within your rights to do that. So anyways, I go downstairs, and I'm standing in my authority that Christ has given me. So I go downstairs, and I tell the person at the front desk, I said, hey, you know, I show him a picture. I said, I don't feel comfortable sleeping in a room that has mold very clear on the ceiling. I wouldn't have been comfortable. And he said, okay, let me see what I got. Why he came back with double. So not only because I stood up for what was right, not only because I didn't accept mediocrity was I replaced that bad situation replaced with something good, but God gave me double for my trouble in that moment, right? So that's just how much God doesn't want you to settle just for anything. He just doesn't want you to take any old thing. I got double for my trouble. And guess what? In that room, I had peace when I went to sleep. And not only that, the Lord allowed me to serve another one of his children and be able to give them a place to sleep, okay? So like, just know that God is very strategic when he makes you uncomfortable in a situation, and when everything in that place, in that space, makes you feel like you can't grow there, makes you feel like you can't stay there. Like, God didn't call us to be mediocre. He didn't call us to settle. He called us to be set apart for such a time as this. Okay, God is raising up the boldness in his children so that we don't accept just any old thing. Like, and this goes back, even if you can probably think about it, to your childhood, where you would just be in a place or a space and you could have been well on your way. Like, you could have been getting a degree, you could have been going to school for something, you could have been just, doing something that you felt like was going to be the end all be all to make you successful. And God stops you in your tracks, and it's so that he can take you from glory to glory, and so that you can be somewhere that is more suitable for your productivity, for your growth, for you to have abundance. It's interesting, but it's so true, where Jesus wasn't accepted in his own hometown. And so don't be discouraged if people who are the closest to you don't support you. It's all a part of the plan. It's all a part of God's plan to break you out of comfort so that you will want to leave that space, and then the Lord will be able to elevate you because you weren't afraid to listen to him, and you weren't afraid to be obedient. And so I pray that this blesses whoever it is for. I pray that you don't settle for anything in this season. I pray that you realize that you are the top, not the bottom. I pray that you realize that you are more precious than rubies in God's eyes. And when you're that precious, God doesn't allow you to settle, and he doesn't allow you to feel mediocre, and he doesn't allow you to be just anywhere and do just anything. The calling on your life is costly. The oil comes with a price, and when Jesus died on the cross for our sins, he already paid for us. So in that sense, we should be walking in this lifetime more in freedom, knowing that God's grace is sufficient, and knowing that we can do all things, not some things, all things through Christ who strengthens us. And so I pray that if this video resonates with you, that you would like, comment, subscribe. You guys know I love to communicate with you down in the comments. And let me know if there was a time where you were well on your way, doing your thing, your way, and the Lord stopped you like, no, I'm calling you higher. You cannot be there. It's time for you to go. I know I can't be the only one. But again, I am so blessed to have brought this word to you guys. We have made it to day 15. We're on the halfway mark. Woo! I'm so happy, y'all.